So, hi, my name is Holden. I've been in E3 since September and I'm 12. So, first thing I've been doing in E3 is mostly Play-Doh, the online Play-Doh classes and whatnot. I'm doing an English one right now, and I've learned some new fiction writing skills like character development and plot development. And I've learned some new Spanish concepts, or some new Spanish stuff. I wouldn't say concepts, but I've learned the numbers 0 through 30 and some greetings. And I've also been blogging, which is definitely my least favorite activity, but I get why it has to be done. I'm getting better at it, and it's getting easier. Otherwise, I've been working with my mentor Ed here, and there were a lot of ideas at first, but essentially we decided to build a vertical wing for a sailboat and whatnot. So essentially that works off Bernoulli's principle, or law, or whatever, which says that if a fluid's speed increases, then its pressure decreases. So if you have a flat surface on the bottom of the wing, the air can stay at a fairly normal pressure, whereas the top of the wing, it has to move a whole lot faster to cover the same distance because there's more surface area on the top of the wing, which means its speed increases and thus its pressure decreases, and the wing is essentially sucked up like a giant vacuum cleaner on top of it. So first thing we did was we tested some different wing designs. I can't tell which one it is. There it is. We tried a more curved design with a real thick front, and then we tried just a traditional flat bottom wing. And we put those in a homemade wind tunnel and tested them. And as it turns out, the curved fat wing worked much better than the flat bottom wing for our current speeds.
Can you explain why?
Because it creates, well, the flat bottom wing creates less drag, but also less lift. So ours is we're only going to be going about 20 miles an hour, so it shouldn't create that much wind speed. So drag is not that much, so we can have a much thicker, fatter, heavier wing, and we'll still go a lot faster. So at that point, we started working on the full-scale design. We traced the ribs out, we kind of measured our wings and did all the math to correlate that to a lot bigger. I'm not sure exactly what scale it was, but that's the finished project, and then we cut those out and bolted them together. Since they were all a little uneven, we kind of sanded them down with a file and a rasp and an orbital sander, and we managed to get those about, I would say, a lot closer to even, so that way there won't be as much imprecision in the ribs. I mean, that's them on the ladder. And we're putting plywood on the underside because basically we're going to skin it in something called polyfiber. But if that were to go on the underside, when we shrink it down and it would cinch tight, we would end up with a really thick flat-bottomed wing, and it would just kind of spring tight. So the plywood and Gorilla Glue and whatnot, dang it, will work a lot better for the underside of the wing. That's them being glued. So at this point, we needed to skin the things in polyfiber, and we needed to attach the mechanism that will allow the wing to pivot and turn, and both of those things we didn't have. And it was about a month before the Maker Fair, so we decided to get to work on the Dragon. So Ed had some old sheet metal from his previous job at Woodward, which we decided to use to make the Dragon. We decided to pop rivet it because we had a lot of pop rivets. And plus this is galvanized sheet metal, so if you weld it, it creates a toxic gas, which isn't good for you at all. So essentially we started working on the tail and finished that. Then the next time we met, we worked on the body a little bit. And then the third time, we kind of joined them all together. Ed finished out the back and built some of the neck, and I made some legs. And at that point, we kind of ran out of sheet metal. So Ed got some more, though. And then, how did it just do that? not working. So then, it was getting close to the Maker Faire, so Ed put some wings on there, and he put a head on there. The head had a lower jaw and an upper jaw, except the upper jaw didn't have a back of the head, so you could see straight through the skull. And so that didn't work. And eventually, we did finish that out. He also put some wings on there, and he turns out the legs I had made, we earlier had a more human-like arm. Basically, it had an elbow joint and a shoulder joint and 2 leg segments. Dragons apparently have 3, so we also had some tipping problems. So we managed to use some thicker sheet metal and some front legs, which wasn't originally planned, to sort of fix that. We did manage to get the forearms and the back legs, but everything else just became kneecaps. And that's Pokey in completion, ready to go to the Maker.
Can you spin it?
How do we make it breathe fire?
Weed burner. They actually sell weed burner. They sell small flamethrowers, which is odd.
Powered by?
Propane. It's propane powered. All right.
So where do you see your learning continuing on from this point?
I mean, we're going to finish the wing, first of all, so I'll get a lot more knowledge out of that. And we're also going to be working on hydrofoils, which is basically, it's an underwater wing. Otherwise, I'm not sure exactly what's going on from that point. We'll probably we'll just keep elaborating on the sail design. And then as far as the Play-Doh goes, I think I'm doing an algebra class currently. I don't really have much of a plan other than that, or an algebra class sometime in the future, but otherwise, I mean, I don't really have a plan. I'm a 6th grader, so I'll work that out in a few months or something like that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Well, then can you compare learning with your mentor, Ed, to learning in a regular classroom? You could have learned those same things with a book or a worksheet. Can you compare those two?
No, I mean, it's one of those monkey see, monkey do things. You can't really learn pop rivets by looking at a diagram. You need to actually do pop rivets and build a wing and actually do that stuff. So this is much more hands-on and it works a lot better.
Any other questions for Holden?
So what's your biggest takeaway from this year?
Not sure yet. If we can get the wing to work, that would be fun. But I'd probably have to say the dragon right now. It's probably been the best thing I've done.
So in the past, you've just been solely homeschooled, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was in school till about 5th grade or 4th grade or whenever. I forget. I don't know.
And so,
But then I dropped out and we homeschooled for 5th grade, I believe, so it was probably 4th when I dropped out. But
you didn't drop
yeah.
out.
Well, I didn't drop out. I stopped going to school. I stopped going to the building.
But you did go back and volunteer some in the building.
Well, I don't know.
And that's when you did the reading class with the
Oh
second
yeah,
graders.
that's right. So I did.
So this year with E3, did you ever work with Monica Hardy and the Innovation Lab?
No, I don't think so.
So through Explore, Engage, Expand, how have you been able to explore, engage, and expand yourself this year?
I don't know.
So think about what you've explored.
I mean, I've pop rivets and whatnot. It's hard to put a label on, really.
Bernoulli's principle
Right,
is
I've
something
learned that.
you start learning in high school. It's
Right.
more like senior year of high school.
Right.
So that's exploring. And what engaged you, or how did you engage
Well,
yourself
of
in
course, we
that?
built the dragon in the wing.
And so to expand on that,
I mean, that'll keep going further, and we should be able to get a lot more.
So as you look at your future, I know you're a 6th grader, but what do you see yourself doing when you graduate from high school or high school? What interests you?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a herd of beagles, I know that.
So, well, I think what has happened with the homeschooling is we've been able to branch out and just do other things that we never thought he would be able to do already. There's a lot of stuff that he does. We do a lot of hikes with the Larimer County group, you know, foliage exploring and that kind of stuff. And he does a lot of fishing. And we've talked to a lot of the rangers, and just, you know, a lot of them have forestry and biology degrees, and so that was just a concept that never even crossed his mind, I don't think, as that could ever be an opportunity. You know, working with Ed and everything, seeing, you know, Ed and Holden are a lot alike in a lot of ways, and so to see what the potential of what a grown-up version could be has been very eye-opening. And he's also he's part of an aviation club where they're rebuilding a gyrocopter right now. And none of these things would have happened if he had stayed in school. So I think he had kind of a mind frame of what he was going to be when he grew up, but that has just gone to the wind because now he can do it all.
Yeah.
So trying to pinpoint, I keep asking him the same question and trying to pinpoint
I have
any
no
of that.
ideas.
Yeah, I mean, his hobbies have really been allowed to grow and expand and go places that they were never able to when he was in school all day. So that's probably a hard one. He can't even answer me in downtime when you ask him that. So
I don't have a plan.
Well,
And that's
you know,
okay.
It is okay because, again, I think that's what Explore, Engage, Expand is all about, is having that opportunity to explore a variety of background
Right.
areas, a variety of what ifs, and then engage, try it out, which is what you're doing with building the wing, and then expand what's working with the wing, what's not working with the wing, what's our next steps, how do we evolve the wing, which we could add a fourth one, evolve, because we evolve, you know. So how have you evolved as a learner this year?
Well, I also have been doing some computer programming, which I'm not good at it, but that's something I would like to do. And
what about the way you've evolved with Ed?
yeah, I mean, that's
To me,
Yeah,
it
you're right.
seems like you've really opened your mind a lot to
We have,
bigger
I have.
projects and.
I mean, I don't really. He's got a lot more tools and resources and a lot more skill also. So I've been able to kind of tag team with that and get a lot bigger stuff done, and a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Experience?
Yes, a lot more experience. That's what I'm looking for.
Ed, any comments as mentor?
What Holden doesn't know is all the things that are in the plan still. So we probably don't, maybe we don't plan enough in terms of explaining it, but I just joined, for the sake of both of us, the Loveland Creator Space, downtown Loveland, and so they have a 3D printer, and so we are actually going to 3D print the hydrofoils that will get the boat up out of the water. And then they also have a CNC milling machine, and we're both going to have to, because I don't know how to program a CNC milling machine, and so we're both going to have to figure out how to program the milling machine in order to make that pivot that Holden talked about. We could do it on a manual milling machine, and I could show them that much because I have done milling before, but I figured it's actually more challenging and difficult and more of a learning experience to actually have to make the machine make all the cuts automatically, and we have to do the design work. So I'm still working we're going to go to the creator space and get trained on how to use the equipment, and so obviously both of us need to know how to do. There'll be three-dimensional CAD programming in order to design the hydrofoils. In order for the 3D printer to print them, you have to have them, in design first, and so that design and then the construction of those different pieces into the parts and pieces of the rest of the sailboat once we have the wing on the top of the mast, in order to actually get to 20 miles an hour, which is pretty fast already just for what we're modifying my current sailboat to do. That will take getting the hydrofoils working, and then possibly learning more about the wing design. We actually, thanks to Diane sending us an article about a guy who broke the land speed record with a sailed plane, or a sail car, you might say. He used a special tail wing design to control the angle of the wing to the wind. And so we're actually adapting our design to use this guy's tail control, because once we get that added to it, it becomes one less thing we have to physically pull on ropes and strings in order to guide the wing to push the sailboat as fast as possible. It will happen automatically once you get to the right setting. And so we're in Holden already made some sketches of the addition of the tail wing to the current wing. And so having taken this month off to do a dragon, it works out well because we learned something else about how someone else broke a different speed record with wind, to be able to adapt our approach to essentially get to a further step forward sooner.